Hi everybody, it's Cindy, the Scrapologist on Etsy, and I'm here to do a flip through of two Paris themed albums that will be in my shop on Monday. It's Sunday, April 29th, and sometime on Monday, I can't promise what time, I'm putting these in my shop. When they're listed, I will put a link down below, as so you can head over to my shop and take a look at it if you'd like. Both of the kits were made with images from a digital download that I also have available in my shop that are Paris themed. I made two different albums because I loved the images so much. This particular album, by the way, if you go join the Facebook group Paper Craft Fan Club, I did a tutorial of this album over there. So if you'd like to just do the digital download and make this album yourself, there are some videos over there. But this album is more of a mini album junk journal hybrid because the cover is chipboard, and I made the cover like I would normally make a mini album, both the outside and the inside you'll see in a minute, but I sewed signatures on, junk journal signatures, so it's kind of a hybrid. This one measures 6¼ by 9, and we'll go through this one first. It's closed with some seam binding that I stained, and I do have a video on Facebook as to how I did that as well, but there are lots of videos on YouTube on how to stain your seam binding. This one is stained with Tim Holtz Vintage Photo ink. So what I meant by the fact that it's a hybrid is that on the inside covers I have pockets. This is a file folder style pocket here with a postcard from the kit, and another pocket here with a couple of tea-stained index cards. Everything in here is Paris or France themed. And then the back has these file folder style flaps that open and are closed with thread around two buttons. So that's what kind of makes it a hybrid, for me anyway. So I'm just going to flip through quickly. I'm not just going to describe every single element in the book. If you have any questions, contact me through Etsy or ask me a question below. I always respond. Or if you just want to know questions on how I made this, I'm happy to answer any kind of questions. I sewed trim on a lot of the pages. This is an image from the kit, and I like to do a water staining technique so that the image from one side starts to come through on the other side and gives it that nice crinkly antique feel, and you can see some of the Eiffel Tower is coming through here. I love to do that. I did a lot of inking coffee stained images on, and there's a lot of tea stained paper as well in this album, in both albums. There's a doily. It's held on with a cute little clothespin that's painted gold. And a tag with some sewing on it from the kit. Another image. And some more water staining. This is just an undercut page that I did some sewing on. I had a postcard book of French Impressionists, and this is a Renoir, and it's a copy of one of his paintings, and so I put that in this tuck spot. I did several edges here in the book of fleur-de-lis, which of course are French, and lots of Eiffel Tower images in here. This is an envelope. More images. I do tear my pages and ink the edges sometimes and fold some of them up. I don't want them to look all pristine. There's some sewing around the edge of this. See if you can see that. And some French words. Obviously, I don't speak French, or I would tell you what this says. I have no idea. But I'm sure it's clean. I folded this down. Some inking and stenciling. Here's a doily on here. image from the kit. This is a pocket that has been, I sewed around the edges, put some burlap and a button on it, and then inside I took the map from the digital kit and I folded it like you would fold a real map, so that it opens up like this. I tore a little bit on the edge. I love this image here. Fun little image. It's an antique. It's a map of an antique. It's an antique image of an old Paris map. There, spit it out, Cindy. And then I did my water staining on the back, so it's not just plain white. And see, folds up nicely so that this is on the front. Isn't that fun? You can put that right in there. You can journal on the back. I leave a lot of blank space. A lot of people say, "Oh, I love your journals, but what do you do with them?" Well, you can do anything you want with them. You can paint on them, use them as journals, collage on them, use it as a photo album, put photos in with some little notes, just anything that you want to do. My personal journal, I make one every year for my spiritual goals. I write Bible verses that I'm trying to memorize, and how many Bible studies I've conducted in that year, and just whatever. I pictures of Jesus and whatever you want. That's what I use mine for. But I've left enough blank space that you can do whatever you want with yours. Lots of staining and tea stained paper. Here's a pocket, and this again is sewn to keep it shut. Another envelope. I also did some misting with glimmer mist. I don't know if this is going to show on the camera, but there's a little bit of a shimmer to some of the pages that I water stained, just to make it a little more fun. Beautiful image from the kit. This might show. There's some glimmer on here. Just a little bit of a sheen. It's not really coming across on the camera because it's so subtle. You'll just have to buy it to see. See for yourself. That's the first signature. Here's the second. Another image of the Eiffel Tower with some flowers, and I tore and inked one of the edges here. Lots of space for you. These images from the kit are in the public domain, but I alter them in Photoshop, and I do a lot with them in Photoshop so that you can alter them for your project so that they're resizable. I put them at 300 dpi. I change the color, I change the sizes. I do a lot with them anyway to make the kits, but I do not claim that I created these images. They're in the public domain. Here's a Paris couture scrapbook paper with a pretty pink paper clip holding on this 4x6 image here. Some sewing. This is, I put this on with washi tape. This is from my collection, my personal collection. I go antique shopping. I have a 150-year-old house that my husband and I are restoring. We have a 150-year-old house that my husband and I are restoring, and we spend a lot of time in antique shops. This is a grade book from, as near as I could tell, like the 1940s. And it even had the teacher's name and some of the kids' grades in it. And so I put one of those in here for you. I always like to put some of my treasures in the journals. This is an envelope that's in the digital kit. It's got a pretty scalloped top. You can put whatever you like in here, and another Eiffel Tower image. Butterfly, peacock with some French words here, and a doily. More of my water staining technique. Here's the center. I do leave the strings, the thread, in the center so that if you want to tie anything on them, like pretty beads or use it as a bookmark, whatever, I leave it there for you. I like them sticking out the bottom too of my journals. Here's a pocket. Again, it's sewn and it has a postcard inside. These postcards, by the way, I do on black so that these make really nice photo mats. You could put a 4x6 photo on here. A little tuck spot with a card on it, and another tuck spot up here with a tea-stained index card. And here's a little undercut page for you. You could do all kinds of things with this. If you do bullet journaling, here's a nice place to put your lists on either side. You can take photographs and maybe kind of tape it on there like this. You could glue it down and have it be a tuck spot. There are all kinds of possibilities. Here's more shimmer. Oh, there you go. You can kind of see it. See? This is just a collage I did. The images are French menus. This is a piece of paper I had in my stash, a piece of scrapbook paper that I thought looked pretty, and the writing on the inside looks French. I don't know if it is, though. It could be gibberish for all I know, but I just thought it looked really nice, and so I stuck it in here as a little bonus for you. Okay, that is the second signature, the end of the second signature, and look how beautiful that is. So pretty. There's some sewing here, but also on the other side I did a fleur-de-lis edge, so you have a nice two-dimensional edge here. I love that. Another tuck spot with a little accordion here, room for writing, or you could put a little photo on each one of these. It says Je t'aime, the Eiffel Tower again. Here's an image I grabbed from Tim Holtz of the Eiffel Tower. Doily and some pretty blue image. I just splattered some glimmer mist on here. Here's a tag in an envelope. Lots of space for you. What's the fun if somebody else decorates the whole thing for you? That's my theory. I know a lot of people just decorate every single page, and I just like to leave space for you. That's just my own personal style. Here's another pocket for you. A nice deep pocket. Here's one of the dress forms from the kit. I backed it onto cardstock and pretty flower on it with a feather, and she's stuck on there with a gold paper clip. And just a vintage dress form that I found. And another dress form, and I put a belt around her with some lace, and I put this really thick, pretty blue flower. I just thought I like sometimes to have things popping out. It gives your album a lot of dimensionality and texture. Some more images, another undercut page for you. I love her. Look how fun she is. Another envelope with a postcard inside. You can use this for a photo or for journaling. And that's the back. Look how pretty she is. And then you open this up with this thread. It opens up like this. And inside there's a pocket. So if you have maybe some personal little journaling things or photos that you don't want anybody else to see, you can tuck them in here and hide them away. And it closes with this seam binding, and here's the image on the back. And again, it's got this beautiful burlap and lace. I love that combination of rustic and beautiful. And the spine. Okay, so that's the mini album junk journal hybrid. And quickly, here's the other one. It's a little smaller, it's not as chunky, and this one has a gold ribbon, and it's in here with eyelets. There's one on the front and one on the back. Here's the back of the album. Oopsie, I tied it in a knot instead of a bow. There we go. So this one is made with Craftex, and if you're not familiar with Craftex, it's a combination of, it's kind of a cross between paper and fabric. You can't tear it. You can throw it in the washing machine, you can sew on it, you can paint on it, you can glue on it, you can do anything. And I decoupaged the images onto the Craftex, and it's super sturdy. This is a good one to carry, that you could carry around with you and throw in your purse. That's why I like the Craftex. And so just a little stamping on the inside, and here's a pocket. And again, the images are primarily from my digital download kit. I did some sewing like the other one. It's pretty similar to the other one. Here's a pretty little, this one does have some bird cages in it. Some burlap. Some French writing with a pocket here. Here's a manila envelope that you could put some things in. There's a really pretty piece of vellum. You could tuck some things behind here if you wanted. And some stamping. More stamping. Here's a side pocket. I sewed around it, put on some burlap and a button, and then it has two tags from the kit, one with the Eiffel Tower and one with Paris. Again, lots of tea-stained papers in here. Another image from the kit. Here's a nice little envelope. A tag fits very nicely in here. I also only attached it at the bottom so that this can be a tuck spot as well. And here's another birdcage image with some butterflies and a clock. I did some washi tape here. I did a couple of diagonal pockets that are sewn. And here are two cellophane bags, or envelopes, sorry, that you can put some items in. And they both say France. One says France 1965 and one says France 1946. Stamps came in these for my stamp collection that I have. And this is another dress form with a little ribbon and flower and a feather. For some reason, feathers remind me of France. I mean, I don't know why. So I put them in here. Another angle pocket. Here's a manila envelope. A lot of room for stuff. And just a piece, this is the end of a piece of leather fabric. And I like the fuzziness of it. Some French writing. Some sewing around the edge here. Sewing around here. Sewing around the edge of here. Here's another fleur-de-lis tuck spot with a little postcard in there. Journal de Paris. I love this page. Fleur-de-lis. Washi. This is a piece of tissue from a napkin that I decoupaged in, and I love the texture that it gives when you do that. And I think that it's just a gorgeous image. Love it. Here's another pocket with some sewing and an index card and a little stamp up here, a French stamp. A stamp of a stamp. And here's a little, why can't I remember the name of this stuff? It's not like vellum. Is it vellum? A vellum envelope. And it also is a tuck spot in the back. Another dress form with a beautiful girl up there, an elegant French lady. And this is a pocket here with a beautiful image that makes me totally want to just get on a plane right now and go to France. More of that leather edging. Some images like you saw in the other book from French menus. Folded up the page a little bit there. This is just a copy of a French envelope that I just did on paper and put it in here as a little journal spot for you. Here's some edging. More menus. Here is a belly band, and since there are some birdcage images in here, I stuck this in here that you can use for journaling. And you can put it in the belly band, and there's plenty of room for anything else that you want to put in there. More inking. This is my favorite page right here. I cut out this paper and then sewed this on top of it with this pretty stitch, this pretty zigzag stitch, and then put a button on. And I love these flowers. And then there's a journal spot up here that I stamped for you. More Paris paper. Another zigzag pocket with sewing on it and a little pull out. Washi. This is a piece of artist paper that I got from Stampington Company. It was in a magazine that I got. It's called Forever Paris. And I put it in here and left it and left the writing here. I thought that was really cool. Fits the theme. And look how pretty this is scrapbook paper from Webster's Pages that they don't make anymore, that I had in my stash that just happened to have some French writing on it. There are a few sheets of handmade paper in here. These are leaves that are really not embedded, stamped onto this handmade paper. They're really beautiful. Here's a tag, a pocket, and here's a pocket as well, so you can put some little things in here. And this has sewing on it. Eiffel Tower. This is a really nice journal spot for you. And it has a pocket on the other side with some journaling. Again, if you do bullet journals, here you go. Some stamping, more of the menus. And here's a little angle pocket. This, don't laugh, but I thought this was fun. It smells so good. I got this in a magazine, Vogue or something, that my husband's a photographer, and this fell out of one of his magazines, and it says Paris on it. So I thought, I'll stick it in here, and this journal is going to smell so good. There you go. Why not? And another angle pocket with a little tucked in image there. This is just a little book from Shakespeare and a rub-on. A sonnet from Shakespeare. And a little piece of fabric just to throw some other dimensions in the album. And a tuck spot here. Eiffel Tower with the burlap. Another tuck spot, and this, I just love to do this. I tear and I ink with Tim Holtz Vintage Photo, and it just gives everything such a nice aged look. And I really tore this one. I wanted to have a little bit of an undercut page for you. Beautiful image of a peacock. Another tag, some more of that handmade paper, more scrapbook paper from Webster's Pages. Look how pretty. And then I decoupaged this. There's some French writing up here and a vintage dress form on here, and that is the back. And then the whole thing ties together. You've got two here, one on the front and one on the back, and it ties together like this. So these are going to be available in my shop Monday, April 30th. If you have any questions, certainly let me know. And I really thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.